Blessed to be part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And Eric and Kuna, you hang on there, little buddy. We're going to go toe-to-toe very soon on hemp versus marijuana and why the state is wrong to legalize hemp in the state of Idaho. Before that, our great friend east of the Great River, William Geen, joining us from Alleypack. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. We are hard at work trying to stop amnesty from passing in D.C. again this week.
Let's talk a little bit about that amnesty. How is that? We haven't heard anything about it.
Well, it's just been filed last week. The Democrats rolled out H.R. 6, House Resolution 6, which would be the largest amnesty in American history. We're still trying to figure out the exact numbers, but it looks like it's an amnesty for somewhere between 4 to 6 million illegal aliens, which, of course, is enough to assure that the borders of the United States remain wide open past any law like that being signed, and Democrats taking full control of all three branches of government within 10 years. The unfortunate thing is that they've got a probable 90% chance of passing it out of the House and over 70% chance of passing it in the Senate because we have so many pro-amnesty rhinos like Lindsey Graham and others that will join with the Democrats, much like they did on prison reform, to pass it. And then, unfortunately, President Trump has a 60+% chance of signing amnesty. And it shocks a lot of people, like, oh, how could that be? Because he campaigned against amnesty. I don't want to believe it. Fake news. Oh, fake news. No, President Trump has tweeted that he's open to signing these amnesty deals. He endorsed legislation that contained amnesty, 2 separate bills he endorsed amnesty in 2017, 2018. And he has his surrogate son-in-law, Jared Kushner, over talking with the Democrats and telling them that Trump will sign an amnesty bill if they get it to his desk. So we have a large volume of information. Oh, and Trump did sign a secretive amnesty bill on February 15th, even though the angel parents who have lost loved ones who have been killed by illegal aliens begged the president not to sign the budget deal. President Trump on February 15th signed a budget deal that 99.9% of Americans had no clue about. So Trump made it very clear that he was willing to create law and sign into law things which the American public were kept in the dark about. So he did that. And then he signed a bill that contained a form of amnesty that makes it now illegal to deport unaccompanied minor illegal immigrants or anybody who sponsors one of the UACs or anybody who wants to sponsor one of the UACs or any illegal immigrant in a household with one of these minor kids. So Trump has made it clear he will sign an amnesty bill. And that gets me to the main point. We're asking people to sign a petition at a website called againstamnesty.com. And what the petition says at againstamnesty.com, it tells President Trump, as well as the Republican members of the Senate and the House, no matter who they are, we will not vote for them. We will not support them if they pass this amnesty. If they pass this amnesty, it's not going to matter anyway because the illegal aliens are going to replace millions of us in future U.S. elections. But it's very important. We know that right now there is a large group of prior Trump voters like me who are not supporting the president anymore because of his flip-flop on immigration issues. Now, this upsets the people who want to see him win in 2020. Well, if you've given up on the president already or you want to see him win in 2020, you both have an incentive to sign our petition at againstamnesty.com and hold the president accountable. And here's the reason why. The president is already causing harm to himself by breaking campaign promises on immigration. We're not harming him. He's doing it, and we're reacting. If you want to see him win, you have to realize if Trump signs an amnesty bill and people find out about it, which they will, and his chances of being reelected go near the floor. I mean, I think the number of people who will stop supporting the president that voted for him will quadruple, and he just doesn't have enough people to lose or spare in that.
But William, what we hear at KIDO Talk Radio is the president wants to build the wall. He brings in the angel families and seems very adamant about stopping the illegals.
Well, he does have some angel families that they're flying to Washington, wining and dining, and got there who want the right things. They want to see illegal immigration stopped, and Trump's got a lot of sway with them. But they're being used right now. I mean, at the press conference on February 15th, they had just begged him to not sign the budget bill. And so he put off signing the budget bill until after the press conference. He didn't want the disappointed angel parents to be there in front of CNN, so he waited till later in the day to sign it. So we're seeing some very manipulative behavior on the part of the president, in my opinion, and very deceptive behavior because he promised us all during his campaign he was going to end amnesty, oppose amnesty, have nothing to do with it. And that's not what the message is coming out of his mouth, his tweets, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, right now. As far as the wall goes, there's some pictures. There's been some new fence replacement and fencing upgrades that have taken place. But according to the London Mail and U.S. Border Patrol U.S. Border Patrol, who was it? Brandon Judd, the head of the Border Patrol union. There's no wall being built at this time. There's no new ground that's been broken. But catch and release and illegal immigration at this moment is now more prevalent under Donald J. Trump than it was under Obama and Bush. By the numbers, there are more illegal aliens now piling into the country than any time in the last 10 to 15 years, and Trump is continuing to catch and release them. But if you look at what he says, he tries to make it sound like he even said at the press conference, we broke up 2 caravans at the border. Would have been a lot easier if we had the wall. Yeah, they broke them up, Kevin. Broke them up into groups of 20, 40, and 60 and brought them in a little bit at a time, processed them, and now they're walking freely amongst us. In fact, according to the Department of Homeland Security report through Breitbart News, date March 17th, that was like 2 days ago, headline, DHS releases 84.5 thousand border crossers illegal into U.S. in 2 months. The Department of Homeland Security released 84,500 foreign family members into the United States since December after they crossed to the U.S.-Mexico border. So they're not stopping anybody. Right now, the Border Patrol is just picking people up and bringing them in. It's ridiculous, and it's not just the Democrats making Trump stop. It's not just the courts making Trump stop. A lot of this stuff is things that Trump's doing, and people don't want to hear that because they remember how good it felt to win against Hillary Clinton, and they remember how good it felt to see the media and the liberals all in an uproar against President Trump. And nobody wants to lose that good feeling, and then they have no place to go, so they feel trapped. And Trump and his people know that we feel trapped. So that creates a dynamic by which they can say, we are going to pass amnesty, and you're going to vote for us anyway because you're trapped. I'm not trapped. I'm not voting for President Trump again. He can't win my vote back without turning back to the original campaign promises that he made us all, and I don't see any evidence that's going to happen. But if you don't like the fact I'm not going to vote for him or support him or do the things that I did that helped him a great deal to win the very swing state of North Carolina, which was essential to his victory in 2016, there will be 4 to 6 times the amount of people like me if Donald Trump signs an amnesty bill, which is on course to pass right now. So that's why we want you to go to againstamnesty.com. We want you to go to allipac.us, get on our email alerts, and help us to stop this amnesty bill, because if it passes, the Democrats are taking full control of everything, and there's no way you can stop them. If that bill passes, millions and millions of Trump supporters will be replaced in future elections by illegal alien Hispanic Democrats.
Well, won't that happen anyway? Our great friend William Geen joining us from AlleyPac. Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. From what we hear, the illegals are flooding the zone, and we're looking at, 100,000 a month coming in now.
Right, but right now, by law, the illegal alien invasion and overthrow of this country, which is being backed by billionaires and socialists and foreign governments like China and Saudi Arabia, it all remains reversible in a peaceful, humanitarian way through the enforcement of our existing immigration laws, which is what Donald J. Trump promised us. If Donald J. Trump signs an amnesty bill, which is basically a rubber stamp that legalizes the terrible things that these power groups that have already done to our country, at that point we cross a point of no return, and a peaceful political diffusion of this situation is no longer possible. It'll be like Obamacare, and once it goes in, there'll be no pulling it back out. And all those illegals on the way to voting rights. Now, illegals are already voting in large numbers, and yes, we are close to being sunk by the amount.
Well,
I mean, the people behind it, they're going for the knockout.
Right. What do you make of the House, led by the Democrats last week, passing a bill that would let the illegals vote? I mean, that's unconstitutional. What are they thinking?
Well, they're thinking that they're going to be able to do whatever they want if the flow of illegals and amnesty legislation ever makes it to its course. You're talking about what you don't like in Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and I always have trouble naming Ocasio-Cortez, okay? she's the poster child of your future, America. That's where the demographic and immigration and illegal immigration-driven trend is taking you. You don't like the fact that there are some people with some religions of certain types in Congress or whatever that you don't like. This is all your future because of what is being done to the country. And it's not the browning of America as if this is something naturally happening. This is an intentional, well-funded, well-orchestrated, extra-constitutional power at work here that is flooding America with people who could care less about the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And not only could they care less about people with traditional American views about these issues, they have antithetical views where they hate these types of Judeo-Christian derived governmental and Greek and Roman derived governmental structures. So, this is something that's being done to the United States. In my opinion, it's a form of warfare being conducted against the people of the United States. And my job has been for the last 15 years to stop it from going beyond the point of no return by stopping amnesty legislation in D.C. And I've been able to, and here's the thing, Kevin, I have had a 100% win ratio. I had helped stop every single bit of amnesty in D.C. legislation-wise for 15 years until Trump. And Trump beat us. Trump got a type of amnesty signed into law on February 15th, 2019, when he signed the secretive budget deal, knowing that no Americans had had a chance to know what was in that budget bill, knowing that Americans had had no time to react to what was in that budget bill, and probably knowing, because the angel parents begged them not to, and we were flooding the phone lines of the White House, that there was an amnesty for illegal aliens embedded in that budget bill. Trump is not doing what he campaigned to be, and there's a big difference between what he actually does or doesn't do and the face that he presents to his cheering, adoring crowds. So we've got a tough situation there where it stinks that that's the case, but whether you want to see Trump win in 2020 or you're already fed up with Trump, we need you at AgainstAmnesty.com. We need people, only the people who are willing to tell the president that their support is contingent upon his actual execution of our existing laws or the promises that he made are any good to us. If you're one of those people like Trump, I like supporting Trump, I'm a Trump cheerleader, you're useless, okay? You got no value to us whatsoever because no matter what the president says or does, you're going to go cheer for him, yay. And the Founding Fathers will be disgusted by you.
All right, our great friend William Geen joining us. AliPac, we're going to let shout on that one. We appreciate you. You're always in the crossfire, sir. We wish you luck.
Thank you, Kevin. Hope your listeners will get on board at AgainstAmnesty.com.
Thank you, sir. Take care, William. Our great friend William Geen bashing the president. Eric and Kuna, how do you follow that one up on KIDO Talk Radio? Good morning. Thanks for your patience.
Good morning. Well, the way I follow that one is, it is, hearing all that, that man is very smart, and I think everybody should be exactly behind what he's saying in the respect of flooding the phone lines and making sure the president knows what people want. But on the other hand, Donald Trump, I trust Trump. He's a great, he's the ultimate chess player. And then where I disagree with him is he was claiming some absolutes of like, well, if this happens, everybody's going to instantly quadruply change their mind against the president. No, that's not going to happen. And, I love the president. I pray for him. People don't even really realize what the president is up against. Why he's firing staff every other day is because, he's keeping his family real close. Obviously, I think we all would do that if we weren't. Donald Trump's not part of the club. He's not part of the attorney club look, pardon my French, but, I call them ass-talking money puppets because that's what the swamp is. They're all controlled by money. And here comes Donald Trump. Guess what, everybody? He's not bought and paid for. And that is the whole reason that he is completely hated. It's because he is not a zombie robot like the media, like most of D.C., that everything that we see that our senses are flooded with, and we're told this issue and that issue, and everybody's got an opinion about this and that, and everybody's brain is becoming scrambled, and boom, we got an Ocasio-Cortez, or whatever her name is. She is she was elected. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, there she is. That's America.
All right,
that's
let's
part
get
of America.
to the hemp,
Okay, let's
young
get
man.
to the hemp, right?
Let's get to the hemp,
Kevin,
young man.
Yes, let's get right over to the hemp. Back to the hemp, because that's what I was going. Now, Kevin, you cannot be you can't say, we're anti-socialism. We are totally anti-socialism and no hemp. Wait a minute. Whoa. America. Okay. Let's say you are the governor and you are saying that. I'm going to be the citizen that says, whoa, you're anti-socialist, but now all of a sudden I can't grow something? Or wait a minute. Now, whoa, Kevin, I'm going to scientifically educate you for real. You can look it up. 3 types of cannabis. 3 types. One of them is not really grown very much. It's kind of a ditch weed that grows in like Iowa and stuff. But there's 3 types: sativa, indica, and rudalis. There are 3 types. Okay, rudalis doesn't have a lot of THC, but it is not hemp. Hemp, different species. Different species. Can't be crossbred with cannabis. Hemp, cannabis, 2 different species. Okay, moving on. Hemp, Kevin. Hemp. You could sit down and smoke hemp, and you're going to get a big fat headache. It is, it's not to be smoked. It has a different purpose, even though it's like related to cannabis. It's like it's first cousin or something. You look at it like that. But it can't be. You can't cross hemp with cannabis. They don't do it. It's not done.
I'm just saying it's opening up Pandora's box, Eric.
Okay, well, now you're still always you address what I just said.
Say no.
Okay,
no hemp.
You're telling me what to do like a socialist. You're a socialist. Hey, well, you can't.
That would be a dictatorship. Yes.
America is about freedom, Kevin. Now you have to understand. There's many laws that you're claiming. Oh, well, it's federally illegal. You can't do that.
There are laws that currently.
I'm the guy that says, what's federally illegal is some of the laws that are not reflecting the principles of the Constitution. Now, the principles of the Constitution is about individual freedom. Now, Kevin, individual freedom means that I have individual personal choice on how I view life and whatnot, and you do too. Now, my
choice is to say
we
yes.
Agree, Kevin, but we always.
My choice is no hemp,
Eric. We agree to disagree, don't we? We agree to disagree, but
we do.
If you cannot say anti-socialism in the same sentence, turn around and say no on this and that. Now you sound like a socialist.
I'm gonna bring that up. I got to run, Eric, but thank you.
I love you, brother.
I love you.
Thanks,
you take care.
Thanks, man. Your show is awesome. I completely agree with you pretty much on everything. I do agree with you on everything except for the hemp. Now, eventually, sometime here soon, your mind's going to be changed. You're going to realize that freedom is freedom. And, I respect somebody else, either their personal views and choices are not the same as mine. It's all about freedom, brother.
All right, Eric. God bless.
Love you.
Love you. All right, coming up next is being anti-hemp, being a socialist. All that and more before Glenn Beck. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. All right, we're getting ready for the news. Do you want to wait there, Timmy, or do you want to do it in 90 seconds or less?
No, we wait for your news.
Oh, yes. So
we only good news, though, please.
We're going to hold you over, you hemp lover, you.
I've been a holdover for years.
You've been a lover of the hemp for years.
Sometimes they call me the leftover.
No. Okay, so we'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
All right, there we have it. To Tea Party Bob, he's fired up and ready to go. Probably more pro-hemp propaganda. The House passing the hemp bill. It moves on to the Senate. We're urging the senators to do what they do and just get it lost in committee. But is the hemp lobby too powerful in the gem state? Let's discuss it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And don't forget Sean Hannity this afternoon. Then you got Lars Larson taking your calls about the issues that matter to you. So the House yesterday said, Kevin Miller, you're wrong. And I think all but 7 representatives voted for the hemp legalization. Boy, isn't that nice? And you have the pro-hemp lobby led by very powerful individuals in the ag community. Ag, very much a vibrant, dynamic part of this state. And look, I'm not going to say that many of you might be right. That many of you might be right about hemp. Hey, it's great. But there is no street test for hemp versus marijuana currently in the state of Idaho. Currently, right now, there is no test to determine the difference between hemp and marijuana. Currently, as Representative Priscilla Gillings told us last hour, you've got people in the jail for transporting hemp in the state of Idaho. Now, the hemp argument is so fascinating because on one hand, you have federal law prohibiting the legalization of marijuana, and you have the states almost seemingly surrounding us legalizing marijuana in direct violation of federal law. Now, with hemp, because of the Farm Bill, hemp has become legal federally, but not across the gem state. And when you look at this, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, are the odds that hemp will become legal? I would say pretty much so. Never mind law enforcement, never mind prosecutors, never mind Kevin Miller have said this is a bad idea. Very bad idea. We've seen this movie before. We saw this movie with Prop 2. Hey, we're going to get a bunch of free money. Now, the state legislature can't figure out how to pay for it. Right? Crazy. All right, Tea Party Bob, Mike in Boise, and Fred will take your calls in a minute. KIDO Talk Radio, your home for Fox News on the radio here in the Treasure Valley. Jared Halper joins us live from Capitol Hill. Jared, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Well, it's fascinating. It's been since 2002 when we're talking about the Beltway snipers and the fear that not only gripped the Beltway, but the nation. And now we've got a development in that story.
Yeah, and this sort of is the Supreme Court looking at how its own precedent can affect, other courts. So in this case, you have Lee Boyd Malveaux, who was the teenage suspect convicted in the Beltway sniper shootings. He was 17 years old when he and John Allen Muhammad shot 10 people in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington. Muhammad has since been executed. He was given a death sentence, and that has been carried out. Malveaux has been sentenced in two different states. Both Virginia and Maryland have sentenced him to multiple life terms without parole. Now, at the time of that sentencing, it was legal for states to impose a life sentence without parole for those who committed their crimes as teenagers. Since then, there has been a Supreme Court opinion that has not banned that practice, but has put sort of new restrictions and oversight into giving a life sentence without parole to teenage offenders. And so you had an appeals court in Virginia say that Malveaux needs to be resentenced in the state of Virginia, given this Supreme Court precedent. The Supreme Court will hear the appeal from Virginia and decide whether or not they believe that in this case there does need to be a resentencing. Now, all of that said, it's not as if Malveaux is going to get out of prison anytime soon. As I said, he has multiple life sentences, including in Maryland, and his multiple life sentences in Maryland have not been challenged. So it's not as if this is a question of an imminent release, but it is sort of a larger question that the Supreme Court sets these precedents. Lower courts then apply them as they believe that the Supreme Court wants them to apply it. And sometimes the Supreme Court says, well, let's see if you actually did. And that seems to be what this case is here.
Well, it's amazing. I can remember that story from so many years ago. And,
yeah, I do too.
The guy, how he did it, the shooter was in the trunk of a car and he just would, I guess, stick out the weapon or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a little sniper hole in the trunk of the vehicle, and they would set up either over overpasses or in parking lots across the street. This was a 2 or 3 week crime spree, as I recall, and actually longer than that because there were some killings in other states as well. But the specific D.C. sniper aspect of it was a few weeks. In 2002, that was before I was living here. I was a college student at the time, and certainly had friends living in this area, and it was a terrifying ordeal. And you talk to folks now who still vividly remember, what it was like. Gas stations around the area would put up these tarps around the gas pumps, so drivers were not seen when they were filling up their gas, because that's how some of the shootings occurred.
Jared, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
Our great friend Jared Halpern joining us. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Mike, hang on. We'll go to the sweet prince of the Treasure Valley and Pro Hemp Tea Party Bob. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. You're on your tirade again about him.
Well, maybe we should do this. We should just change your name to Pro Hemp.
Well, we should change your name to Mr. No Hemp. I believe you're losing the argument a little bit of the time every day, and why you're so against the crop that could not only be a bountiful windfall for the agricultural community, but also a good way for them to rotate their crops. I already proved to you that hemp does not take any more water than any other crops, yet has a much higher yield per acre and higher market value than other crops. You need to get off this phony story that hemp needs marijuana and start doing some reading about the basics of hemp and how it can help people, not hurt people. You fight so hard for so many good causes by keeping up the pressure on the legislature to tell us why they haven't passed the repeal of grocery tax. I agree with you on one good point you made this morning, and that is, the groceries, to be consistent, the grocery tax and things like it are killing the people that are out there buying the processed food and getting bad health and wind up on Medicaid and Medicaid expansion, which we're going to have 22% of our population on when the expansion is fully put into play. It's because of bad eating habits and no exercise. If you want to give people incentives to make them well.
Oh, you like the syntax idea.
I think it's,
it's very California.
Is it any different than the vape tax?
That's very California of you.
Well, hey, listen, if you want to go California, I can go California. Look at this guy Gannon.
Hey, let me. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Here's a liberal Democrat representative, okay? And Mr. Gannon evidently believes if it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize.
Well, he's the sponsor of the vape tax, yes.
Sure. Well, look, many people are on vaping to get off smoking cigarettes, which would be a good thing. But hey, who cares about them? We tax their smoking habits, so they're trying to get off them. So now let's tax the potential cure for the habit. How dumb can you possibly be?
Let me hit you with this one. This is from Stuart. My wife and family of two spend $400 per month on groceries. That's $280 of the 6% tax. The grocery tax credit for my family of two is $240. That means we pay $48 per year in this tax. That's 92 cents per week. Please use your voice for greater issues. Thank you, Stuart.
Well, tell Stuart that it only affects him that way. How many other people are there two in a family? Or are there 7 or 8 in a family? That it affects them a lot more difficultly in terms of what they have to pay. Stuart, you are not the with-all to end all. You just happen to be within a category that makes it easier for you to handle a grocery tax. There are many out there that can't afford to buy the food that they want to buy because the darn grocery tax is sitting there in front of them. And it costs them a lot more money. I've heard this argument before. It doesn't work. It works for part of the people part of the time, and not all of the people all the time. We don't need a grocery tax. There is absolutely no necessity for it. It should never have been implemented in the first place. Is it any different than these clowns like Fred Martin and Senator Todd Leahy, 4th-term legislators who hold up bills that are critical bills because they don't like them? I'm so tired of these legislators here. Representative Giddings is right. It's like a funny farm down there. Nobody really understands what they're doing, except the lobbyists. They got a great idea. They know everything that's going on because they're playing the music. And all of these legislators are dancing to the tune.
All right. Well, we're done dancing to your tune.
Hey, you have a great day, my friend.
Keep packing.
Yeah, I am.
Thank you. Our great friend Tea Party Bob. Mike in Boise, thanks for your patience. You're on with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Mike.
Good morning, Kevin. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'd like to ditto everything Tea Party Bob said, and the pro-hemp people. I don't see any risk and a lot of reward to give this a chance. We're going to have the products to consume here, and I'd sure hate to see us lose out on a new market. It may crop up and be just as popular as these vape shops, whether they're good or bad, we'll find out. But they're sure popular everywhere, like coffee shops, and I just see an upside. I saw a good article in the Press Tribune a couple of weeks ago, and the lady mentioned the hay strings, this plastic, and there's nothing filthier than that stuff. The sun and the cold just rots it into little fibers, and a cow or horse eats it, and they get sick, and if it costs you thousands to save the animal, or they die. There's many cases of it, and so I think some hemp string on our hay bales is plenty. I'd sure like to give that CBD oil a chance. I've been crippled up, a walking cripple for years on opiates and all kinds of different stuff, and I'm reaching out for anything. I'm almost ready to go smoke pot. Sometimes hurts so darn bad, and I think we can handle it. I don't like hearing you trying to conflate hemp with medical marijuana. That's I've never seen a state start with hemp and then lead to medical marijuana, and I don't know. It's hard to determine where you're coming from. I don't know whether you're in the plastics industry or
I'm just in I'm just in the say no to any marijuana, and we don't have a way, Mike, to determine the difference between hemp and marijuana currently in this state.
Oh, we got big technology. We started Micron here. We got some big boys, Simplot, and we're not a bunch of dumb hillbillies. We'll figure it out. We're getting the machine. It's going to come through the state. It's going to be consumed here. Only thing that makes sense to me is that Tommy Alquist is a bad influence on you somehow or other.
That has nothing to do with Tommy Alquist, actually.
Really? He is a big pharma or something?
No, I'm blessed to be a part of the podcast, and that's about it. We have him on politically because I think he's a newsmaker and a fascinating person, but no, I wouldn't. I don't even know his views on hemp or any of these issues. I'll have to ask him sometime.
Well, I thought I'd give you a chance to answer that. I appreciate that. But you have disappointed me. Your validity is going downhill.
Well, that's not very nice.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think, Mike, again, I hope that you get better, and we can agree to disagree on this one, but you call in and you give it to me every day. I appreciate that. I need some alternative views besides my own.
Well, I listen to you most every day, and you woke me right up here a couple weeks ago trying to say that it was going to lead to marijuana, legalized marijuana. But I finally got into you, and I appreciate you taking my call, and everybody's got a good program, even though you're wrong on this.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. More coming up. Ryan, Mark, Jerry, and Will, you're next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's roll on. The pro-hemp forces continue to be aligned against yours truly. Ryan in Meridian, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
And you?
Yeah, living the dream. Hey, Kevin, you're right on with your hemp argument. What I want to know is, what is the cash crop? Rope, clothing, there's products that are much better for clothing and for rope. I do agree they make great hemp necklaces. But there's only one group of people that I know wears hemp necklaces, and those are the people that smoke marijuana. So I think it's very similar to the medical marijuana argument. There's no research to show that medical, or very limited research show medical marijuana is beneficial. So, until you can show me what cash crop there is in hemp, I'm against it, because I think it's going down the slippery slope.
Ryan, I appreciate you backing me up this morning, and really that's what this is about. We've got the medical marijuana initiative. They're looking to get that on the ballot in 2020. We'll see how that plays out. And, hemp is just the first step, because, we heard all these great stories about Medicaid expansion and free money, and we can't pay for what we have.
Oh, that's funny, because Medicaid expansion, it's great where the federal government's going to pay the bill, but one of these days they're not, and it's going to be an absolute disaster for Idaho.
Ryan, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Boy, finally some sanity this morning. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio.
Channel 7's Eric Gebert.
And Kevin Miller in the morning. Back to the phones. We go to Mark in Eagle on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Kevin. I was listening to a gentleman from Allipac about what that budget deal that Trump signed on the 19th. Have you noticed also, though, how coincidental, how quiet Charlie Chuck Schumer and Palooka Pelosi have been lately? And that about a week ago, she said they weren't going to, pursue impeachment. It would be a waste of time. It was on Drudge Report. It was on Breitbart. Do you notice the coincidence there? I wonder if because they know behind the scenes that maybe Trump did sign something that gives them what they want. What he said about China, I've been telling this to people also. China is also, along with Saudi Arabia, behind George Soros and the other leftist billionaires around the world that are help funding our invasion in this country. And I'm going to make a prediction here. When this country finally gets taken over by the far left radicals, and it's going to happen. I hate to be negative, but I see it happening. You're going to see China will invade Taiwan because they know we're going to be too helpless and fighting from within to be able to do anything to stop them over there. And the leftist socialists that take over will be telling all the brainwashed youth in this country and the rest of the idiot sheeple out there that, it was part of China anyway. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? That's when China will make their move, is when this country has been taken over enough from within, and we are too weak within to be able to fight back and defend Taiwan.
Well, I think we've got to make tough decisions, and they just did a World War III simulator, and we get creamed.
We lost. I'm glad you saw that too, Kevin. I know.
Oh, but Mark, here's what concerns me, and you deal with the young people. 3 and 5 millennials think today is the most stressful time. I mean, we're in good economic times. We've become overly too sensitive, and to beat these people, we've got to make tough decisions. We've got to sacrifice, and I'm wondering who's up to it.
Those brainwashed little snowflakes out there need to go maybe for a week or a month vacation down there to Valenzuela to see what they're being programmed into believing is great for this country. That's socialism led by a dictator down there. Where you end up eating your zoo animals for food, and the women prostitute themselves in other countries over the next border there to get enough money to feed their kids. It's disgusting, but that's the way it seems to be heading. And I'll tell you, I'm not a church-going person, but it seems like the devil itself is behind socialism and communism in this world. It is the evil of mankind, and the Muslim religion out there, folks, is just part of it, too. I'll let you go on that.
All right, Mark, thank you. Max in Garden City will bring us home on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, and yay, Tea Party Bob. He's right about the hemp. Hemp is just another cash crop, something else that can help to diversify the agricultural front in a state that is primarily an agricultural state. Are you saying that because it looks like another one, we shouldn't grow it? I don't foresee any kind of a slippery slope, Kevin. I really think you need to look into this one a little more deeply and modify your position.
Duly noted.
Bam, bam.
Duly noted. Boom, boom, boom.
You have a good time. I'm going on a lecture tour. I'll be back in about a week. Try to call you from New York if I get a chance.
Safe travels, Max. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
All right, our great friend Max in Garden City. This debate will continue, as I'm sure, unlike other bills, the hemp bill will get a thorough, fast reading in the Senate and will be unfortunately signed into law, and that's a big mistake. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Ray Amaya, great job. God bless everybody.